Hey there, Kelly Austin here at Deans Pointe. I am getting ready to start my epoxy pour for my countertops. I don't know quite how this is going to go. I've done all my preparation work. I showed some of that in a previous video, and I'm getting ready to mix my epoxy and blend that, and then I've got all my cups here with all my different colors that I'm going to be mixing into it. So just to kind of give you an overview, I'm using Stone Coat epoxy, and this is Art Coat. All right, so Art Coat is designed to be used with anything that has like a white or colored base because it doesn't yellow. Some epoxies will yellow over time, and I really don't want to put all this time and effort into it if I'm going to end up with yellow countertops down the road. I'm going to do a bunch of different colors. We're going to do the base being this white, and this is Alumilite white, which is just their basic white dye. So it'll dye the epoxy, and I'm going to go for an opaque so you can't see through it for that. Then I have a bunch of colors. I've mixed these up. This is a paste. This is Color Passion, and I forget the name of it. Oh gosh, I don't know if it says it on here or not. I'll have to look it up. Anyway, it's kind of a rosy gold color, and so I mixed it up really well the way it told me to in here. And then this other one is, okay, that is, it doesn't tell me the color there either. All right. Then this other one, also Color Passion. It was a blue name, and it looked very blue, but it's actually coming out to being like a very turquoise kind of color, which I honestly think is going to go fantastic with my cabinets because they're Sherwin-Williams Succulent. And Succulent is a green, but it has a little bit of a blue undertone. I was really wanting to bring a little bit of a royal blue almost to my colors, but I don't think I really have that because I thought that was going to be a bluer color. Then I do want to incorporate some golds and coppers because I do mixed metals. So my sink is a copper sink. My hardware, actually I've got a piece of it right here. Here is my cabinet hardware. And so that is a kind of a gold, an antique gold, antique bronze. And so I have, and these are powders. These are metallic powders that will mix in, and that is rustic gold. I have a bunch of different golds and bronzes, but I don't want it to be too much, especially because this color paste, the rose gold, is probably going to be my primary one as far as it goes with the copper colors. Then we have by Polycolor, this is Diamond Dust Metallic. That's going to go in my white. And this is, I've got two different ones that look kind of similar. The Diamond Dust is like kind of bigger particles, almost more of a glitter. And I tend not to prefer a lot of glitter, but we'll see. I may even do some of that into a clear. I've watched that on a couple of videos. Then this is White Metallic. So this is the basic, just shimmery white that you'd put in to give it that depth. So it's not just a flat white. And then we have the silver, also just like a glittery, so that's going to give that a grayer tone. And then I've got a couple of greens. I've got a bright green and a forest green. And the forest green, just looking at the colors, and these are mica, so it's going to mix in, and it has a lot of a blue to it as well, so it may be similar. We'll see just how they mix together. And then the bright green, I don't have a real good feel for what this one's going to look like, to be honest, but I mean, it looks pretty down in there. We're going to mix it in and see. So I'm going to mix all my epoxy, and then I'm going to pour them into the individual cups so I can color the individual ones. My intention is that this is still going to be a majority white with a lot of these colored veins going through it. And I've really struggled to decide whether I was going to do an exotic pour, also considered a dirty pour, where you mix everything into one bucket and pour all of that out and let it blend and meld. It takes more epoxy to do that. And then the other version is where you do just your individual pours of the colors, and you can meld them with your hands or with the sticks, and then also just letting it kind of come together on its own, and that doesn't take as much epoxy. Different reasons, I've just gone back and forth over both of them. I have about 30 square feet of countertop to cover, and I have a total of 1 gallon of product. If I'm doing a melded pour, I need about 3 ounces of epoxy mixed together, total 3 ounces per square foot. So for 30 square feet, that's basically 90 ounces, and I have a little bit less than 30. So like, I think I've calculated it to be 80 ounces that I would need for 3-ounce coverage over everything. And obviously with a gallon, I've got 128 ounces, so I've got plenty to work with, because I may not mix in all the colors that I end up mixing together. It may not all go in there. And I do have some rough spots on my countertops that I showed you before where I could not sand that epoxy smooth because of just the fumes. It was so painful, like in my lungs. So I'm thinking about doing some white and actually doing that pour first. I forget what they call that, but it just gives it makes it more slippery. So then when you do your colors and other things, it will blend and move even easier. So I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to mix in my epoxy, and then I'll come back once I'm mixing colors into it. And that's my intention. So I may miss videoing some of it, or if I get a phone call, but I'm going to try to show you what I've got going on. And before I finish this video, let's walk through the kitchen just briefly and show you what I have set up. Okay, so this is the kitchen. You're trying to keep the airflow down, so I've got the plastic up to keep dust and things out. On the floors, I've got everything covered with just a thin plastic, and then I did this cloth-like, it's just disposable, but I did that running along where the epoxy is going to drip and where I'll be walking, just to help this supposed to absorb the epoxy better, so that I don't end up getting it on my feet and just tracking it everywhere. Cover the countertops, my tape. I did do the dam around it. You do this dam if you're going to do a dirty pour, exotic pour, and that one you want about 5 ounces of mixed epoxy per square foot, which I have enough for that. I don't know, I'm just not quite sure what I want here. And I've watched a lot of videos and I'm still not 100% certain. So we're just gonna play with this a little bit. If I don't do the dirty pour, the exotic pour, then I would actually end up pulling this dam off and running my hands over the edges once I do the pour to let it really meld around there really good. Where my sink will be, and you can see like the rough spots. I don't know if you can get this on the video or not. Apologize, I know the quality is not great, and I have my little handheld selfie stick, but it's broken, so that didn't help me much either. So this is where I'm thinking about doing that very thin white coat to help this blend in a little bit more and fill in there. I just don't want those ridges to potentially impact how my colors naturally and organically flow together. And I don't know if it would or not. And everyone says, oh, you should do like a trial first. Well, I mean, I guess kind of our first version was a trial, but that didn't work so well. And I don't have, I mean, again, yes, I could technically go get some plywood and do this whole thing as a trial out in the yard, but I don't feel like that's completely genuine. It would help to some extent, but it's going to end up being poured in here anyway. So we're just going to give it a go. In worst case, we'll do it all over again on top of that. So I'm going to go and come back to you shortly once I mix everything up.